Shalom. Shana Tova. And it should be a good new beginning for all of us. I'm going to give a moment for people to join if they want. And I'm going to share a little story. One of the gifts of this challenging, unclear time is that there's a lot of pivoting, looking for, what to do, new ways to approach our time, learning, spending time with our children, with our families, at home, being really based at home and unable to run out and run away all the time. So one of the big gifts that's happened here is that we started a garden on our roof. And one of my daughters in particular got really into this and involved and started to plant from seeds vegetables and grow them on the roof. And part of what is so amazing is just growth, the growth of life. One little seed growing into a plant which provides many, many more seeds to grow many, many more plants. And this is so inspiring. It's so simple, but it's so inspiring. And it's alluding to some of the ideas that I want to share today in honor of the first Shabbos of the year, the first Parsha of the year, Parshat Breishit. And there's just so much in it. There's so much to it. And I gravitated towards a certain angle on what we can learn from the Parsha that I'd like to share. So first I want to dedicate this learning for the Refuah Shalema of Harav Yaakov Ziv Ben Liba, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs. He should be well. He should come to his full strength and full recovery, along with everyone who's sick and suffering should be healed. We should see incredible healing, incredible miracles of coming around to our fullness and our strength. So Parshat Breishit. So we are in times. This is the beginning. It's the beginning of the year, and we are in times of new beginnings. And it's a time of so much hope, and it's also a time of so much struggle in these times, and specifically now. And there is the great feeling of hope in the newness, and there's also incredible things happening in the world. Every time something new and amazing comes into the world, it is surrounded by like a fog, like it's hard to see it. And so we have to look deeper. We have to connect deeper and realize the good. So one of the aspects of what's going on in the world that's been an amazing development, I'm sure people have heard about it, is that there's an incredible air of reconciliation and peace coming to the Middle East, where Arab nations that once their standard was to say that Israel should be wiped off the face of the earth, are now making peace, not complicated peace treaties at all, just saying we want to work with Israel. We realize that making a distinction that it's worthwhile to connect to us, to Israel. And even just yesterday I saw this is happening even in a place like Lebanon, which the spokesperson speaking said that we might be the last ones to do it, but we're still going to do it. The direction is peace. The direction is connection. The direction is is moving towards where we really want to go, truth and peace. So incredible things are happening even in the midst of the great challenges and uncertainty and confusion of these times. So part of how we can continue to move in the right direction and connect and go in the right direction is to focus again and again and again on beginning. on starting over. And this happens to be the beginning of the Jewish year, so it's perfect timing. And the truth is that there's always, the beginning is always. We're constantly beginning. There's a famous phrase that comes up in the morning tefillah that says Hashem mechadesh b'kol yom tamid ma'aseh Breishit, that the works of creation, the act of creating the world, is a constant. That if there's any constant, so as a saying that the only constant that's really happens in the world is change, right? In a way, this is connected to this pasuk. The only constant in the world is that everything is constantly being renewed and is constantly being created again and again and again. So we need to catch that wave. We need to understand and connect ourselves to the newness again and again. Part of the secret of Rabbi Nachman's greatness, Rabbi Nachman lived a very short life in terms of years in the world. He lived 38 years, a very short life. And yet, he accomplished so much. He brought down so many chidushei Torah. He seems to go so far in such a short time. How could it be? He knew the secret of beginning. He knew the secret of starting over again and again and again. Rabbi Nachman was known to start over hundreds of times a day, thousands of times a day. What does it mean to start over? It means to really just connect again back to the beginning. And this is something just like any of the works and the holy service that Rabbi Nachman did and other tzaddikim did. He said it's not just an example for us to see it and see it as something that's far away from us, something that we can see as like a story that's separate from us. No, this is an example for us because we can be like that too. We can learn to be like that. We actually are like that. So I want to focus on really just one part of the creation story, which is the creation on the third day of creation. It says in Pasuk Yud Aleph in the first chapter of Breishit, of Genesis, it says V'yomer Elokim Tadshe ha'aretz deshe esev mazria zera eitz pri ose pri lemino asher zarobo al ha'aretz v'hichen. God said, "Let the earth sprout vegetation and plants, bring forth seeds, trees, and fruit yielding fruit each after its kind, which will have their seed in them in the earth." Which reminds me of the story that I started with, that we have this incredible experience of our natural world, that within everything that is growing in the plants and the trees, built into it is potential for more of it, for it to grow more. And this is very unique to creation. And this is what happened. The v'totzia aretz deshe esev mazria zera leminehu ve'etz osei pri asher zarobo leminehu v'yar Elokim ki tov. Okay, so this is exactly what happened. The earth brought forth vegetation, each plant bringing a seed of its own kind, and the trees bringing fruit, each containing its own kind of fruit after its own kind, the seed of the fruit after its own kind. So there's potential within all of the plant life world to grow more. And this is what I want to focus on today, because I think it's such an incredible thing. And it's something that can connect us to mamash, the beginnings of our own experience and this experience of what's going on in the world. So this is, hi Olivia, I'm so happy to see you here. This is something that I was inspired to look into the Tanya, something that we learned earlier in Tishrei a few weeks ago in the 20th Igeret, in the 20th letter of Tanya, which talks about this. It talks about how it's translated as a radiation of a radiation of a radiation, basically without getting into the Kabbalah of it. There's the highest level of divine existence, of light, that is in a sense very, very far from the physical world, because it needs to be brought down to this place, and every time that it's brought down another level and another level and another level, in order for it to come to this very physical, most lowly place, this world that we are in, it shifts in terms of how it's connected, what it looks like, what it is like, even in relation to that first light, and yet it's connected to that highest light. And so when we get down to this most physical, earthly level of reality, it's called it's like a light, a tiny bit of the light, which is a tiny bit of the light, which is higher, which is a tiny bit of the light, which is higher, which is connected to that first divine essence of light. And it says here in the Tanya, this becomes apparent in the ability of the earth to make things grow. The physical growth of vegetative matter from the spiritual power of growth found in the earth is clearly demonstrated of yesh resulting from ayin. There is a concept of yesh mi yesh and yesh mi ayin. Yesh mi ayin is a type of creation, being a creative type of person. I love to do artwork and be creative in a lot of ways. Every time I make something as a human being, it's something from something. I take some clay and I make it into a bowl. I take some glass and I make it into a glass piece. And this is basically what it's like to be in the physical world. We are working with what we already have. That's yesh mi yesh. The creation already happened. It already exists, and we take from that, and we therefore work with it and make other things. Yesh mi ayin, from the original beginning of creation. Before creation, there wasn't creation. Ayin, there was nothing. And this is where this highest level comes in, where God created something from nothing. And the something from nothing, how can we, in this lowly, far away physical world, far from spiritual truth, and with so many screens in between us and truth, how can we relate to such a thing? Through the plants, through the vegetative potential of the earth. Because this is from the very beginning of creation, the way that the earth was created, that it was created with this incredible potential and power to constantly create and give us. It's not only giving us a sense of creating something from nothing; it actually is that. And this is what the Alter Rebbe goes on to explain in this letter. So I'm going to read little parts of it. I'm going to kind of jump through it and not read the entire thing. But every single part of it is beautiful, incredible. I highly encourage going inside and reading the whole thing. The 20th letter in the Igrot. Okay, so it says, like the element of earth, ki yesod ha'afar, hamatzmiach tamid yesh mi'ayin, hem asavim ve'ilanot. The element of earth, which is the lowest element of all of creation. Water, air, fire, all higher. Earth is the lowest level. It has this aspect in it that it's constantly making something, yesh, sprout from nothing, mi'ayin. Namely the herbs and the trees that constantly grow from the earth's vegetative power. There's a underlying essence of power in this. So this is true with any type of plant. If a person plants a plant and takes care of it and does all of the work of growing a plant, still this aspect is underlying this process. And we know the beautiful idea that when any plant, even every little blade of grass that grows has an angel assigned to it that stands over it and gives it a little encouragement, little tap of encouragement, and says, grow, 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 and that's how the plant grows. That's already after it's sprouted. So the sprouting, the deeper level of life force that the plant is coming from, is this taste of yesh mi'ayin, of connecting back to the very, very beginning, which is connecting us back to the very, very beginning of creation, which is my hope with this little learning together, that we can learn and contemplate a bit more how to connect to beginnings, to connect to our own beginnings, to connect to the beginning of all of creation, and to constantly be brought back to that place, which will give us incredible inspiration and life force through this whole experience of being in this lowly world. So again, skipping through the complicated Kabbalah, part of the explanation here. There's an idea of Adam Kadmon, that there's this encapsulation of all of creation called Adam Kadmon, of the original man. And is as if it's a person. The highest level is in the highest level of heavens, and the lowest level is the feet. And it says, "V'tachat raglav me'ir or ein sof baruch hu hasovev kol amin." Understanding how this light of divinity, of pure spirituality, translates from the infinite, highest level into this physical, lowly world is something that's a bit mind-boggling. You can imagine it as a very huge person, the highest level being totally spiritual and connected to the highest realms, and the lowest level being the feet here in this world, brought all the way down to this world. So even though, in a sense, it's very confusing and we feel very cut off a lot of times, it's hard to remember how to reconnect. And it's the feet, it's the lowest level where we are. Remembering that those feet are connected to this very, very high head is part of staying connected. It's part of knowing that we are connected. And this is what happens. It comes all the way down. The light comes all the way down, even though it's more and more constricted. It's hardly even a faint reminder of that highest, purest light. It's still connected. It's still totally connected to that place, and we can always connect to that place. And a very important point in this, even though we're in this very lowly world, physical world, any reflection back is called or choser. Any reflection back towards the infinite, towards this highest light, this is even stronger than the original light. This is part of the underlying essence of why we're here and what we can actually do while we're here in this world, is to recognize that this infinite connection is very, very high and very, very hard to connect to, and yet still recognize where we come from. Say a blessing over the food that we eat. Be conscious, meditate, pray, be giving, learn to be like the Creator, have compassion, have patience, be giving, be loving. By acting in these ways, we're connecting to this highest place and this highest level. And that is an aspect of the returning the light. That light that comes all the way down to the world to make creation is then returned back by us, even though we're here so far away and so, in a sense, cut off. We connecting to that little bit that's still here for us to connect to and sending it back sends back an even stronger, brighter light. And as we know, this beautiful, amazing concept that the beginning is wedged in the end, right? And since we're in a time of beginnings now, of Breishit, of the beginning of a new year, so I can't emphasize enough, connecting to beginnings. All year long it should be the beginning. Every time before I stand up, before I make something and I'm going to blow glass, it's the beginning. I didn't do it yet. Even though I did it yesterday and the day before, and I've been doing it for decades. Okay, every time someone gets up to do something, gets up to start a new day, it's a beginning. And connecting to the beginning is so key and elemental. It says that this lowest level of Adam Kadmon that's in this very, very physical world, the feet, is wrapped up in the beginning, is wrapped up in the highest level, the head of Adam Kadmon. And it says here that as I'm jumping forward again, and I hope that it makes sense even though I'm jumping through, but I just find these ideas really, really intriguing and amazing. It says, "V'hu ma'amar Tadshe ha'aretz." This is our pasuk that we're going on, that we're learning from Breishit, that the earth should sprout vegetative life. Liot poel bekerev ha'aretz tamid leolam va'ed. This is a constant and everlasting effect from the time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, "Make the earth sprout these vegetative plants. This utterance is the source of this power of plants to sprout forever and ever and ever, and it'll never ever stop. And this is the Bechina of Ein Sof. This is actually an aspect of Ein Sof. So when you look at a plant, I love plants. If anyone who has visited me and knows, been in my house, there's plants all over, everywhere. My house and outside and on the roof and on the balconies, everywhere. Plants. Why I love plants? I'm starting to understand from learning inside why I might love plants so much, because they are connected to this very, very beginning, the beginning of creation, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu set this into motion. Everything else that he set into motion, animals, people, everything reproduces from itself. The earth producing plants is always, it's always this yesh mi'ayin situation. It's connecting back to such a deep level of beginnings. And when you look at a plant and you see how a plant grew, and you see how the plant not only grew, but it grew with it the potential to grow more, to grow many, many, many more plants. This is so inspiring. It's so amazing. So it says, Shivat Yemei Breishit Ha'ir Ba'olam Hazeh Herat Me'or Ein Sof B'Chesed Chinam. When this first light shone into the world, it came with it was just pure kindness. It was just a gift. And this is, I just said this outside, but with every other thing, everything is reproducing itself. With the plants, Atzmiach asavim ve'ilanot u'perot me'ayin le'esh tamid midai shana b'shana shehu me'ein b'chinat ein sof. The plants are constantly coming from this place of this spiritual power from the beginning of creation, yesh mi'ayin, before there was anything, connecting back, and they're coming from that place. And it says if this world were to exist for myriads and myriads of years, they would still sprout forth from year to year. Beautiful. So saying a bit more here of what we already say. And then we have the aspect of us. Here we are. So if the plants were going to grow on their own anyway, what is the point of us getting involved? Well, this is actually the whole point. The most important thing is us getting involved. And we already said that the Ein Sof, that the connecting to this Ein Sof, it's always there within the earth. And yet, what we're doing here, what man is doing, we have the opportunity in this world to do something, to recognize where it's coming from, to recognize that we're gifted with this world that is growing, and it's perpetuating life. And yes, I was speaking with my kids this week a little bit about this, and saying, we were people in the world. I have one child in particular, I won't name names, who's very concerned about the environmental state of the world and wants it to be better. And I said, we're put in this world. Part of what it says when we're created, when man was created, when humankind was created, was to work and to protect the land. And she said, well, I think there needs to be some more protecting, which is true. This is something that the world is coming around to understand. And it's something that we need to always remember. Not only do we need to protect the land, we need to work the earth. We need to work with what we're given. We need to work with the materials that we're given and do good with them. And as we said from the very beginning, that light that we shine back by taking and have with consciousness, with love in our hearts, giving to the world, helping sprout new things in the world, helping sprout new inspiration in people, in our friends, in our family, being kind, in having patience, in having compassion. By doing these things, we're shining a light if we could even imagine such a thing, an even stronger light we're shining back all the way up to the highest places. So this is elevation by sowing and planting. This is far, far superior. This is much, much higher level than the plants that just sprout on their own. So as we said before, even if the earth was just left for myriads and myriads of years, the plants would just on their own keep growing. There would be this process of the seeds going into the ground and sprouting up, because the earth, as we said from the beginning, has this incredible spiritual force, power to grow. Yesh mi'ayin, always, no matter what. Even though that's the case, compared to the level of a person taking responsibility and putting their efforts into working the land, growing plants, and this can be obviously applied metaphorically to anything that we do, not just growing plants, but this is the inspiration behind it. It's far, far higher. It's a far, far higher level of sprouting, of life growing. We need to be involved. It's important that we need to be involved. Yes, and I totally agree. Our internal environment as well. We are the earth. We're from the earth. It's such a good point, Valerie. Thank you for saying. We ourselves are the earth. We have this aspect within ourselves that yes, there's this regenerative what we're going to bring, whatever could happen anyway. The more that we take care of it and do good with it, and are actively looking to connect and recognize where we come from, and recognize we're here to be givers, to go beyond ourselves, to make the world thrive and grow by our own little actions, the stronger that Or Choser is going to be. We're going to shine it back so much stronger, which is as it says here in this part of the Tanya. It says, Shu Tachlit Briat Adam. This is the whole purpose of why we're here. This is the whole purpose of the creation of man, is that the light that's drawn down into the world, this very, you could say, dimmed or very mitzumtzam, constricted light that's compared to the original light, compared to the Or Ein Sof, the light that is unrestricted. It's almost nothing. It seems like it's almost nothing, but it's still connected to it. Taking that and doing good with it and shining it back, this is even stronger. This is an even stronger light. Okay, so there's so much more, but we got a little taste of that. And now I want to take it a step further. So this idea that we already spoke about, how we have this job in the world to really be connected, to be active in the world, to not only recognize that this infinite gift is given to us from the Chesed Chinam of Hashem, but to do good with it, and to send that light back, to inspire others, to build and grow in this world, and to protect it as well, in ourselves and our inner world as well. So let's look at this a little bit deeper. We have the teachings of Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, where it comes up quite a bit. Many times I've seen it, where he says, when a person is down and out, when a person's having a hard time, and life can be a struggle no matter what. We're living in times where so many people are struggling in so many seemingly extra ways. So what do you do? What makes a person feel better? Going into the forest and looking at the trees and seeing the nature, splashing some water on your face and looking out the window, just opening the window and feeling the breeze on your face. These type of activities, connecting to nature, giving ourselves a reconnect to nature, it's like starting a new day. It's like being born again. It's like realizing that we actually are connected to the beginning again, which is what we need to do all the time, again and again and again. So let's take it one step further. I'm gonna share a teaching now, and I'm gonna go get ready for Shabbos. Shabbos is coming, as we know, and the seventh day. I will say one extra word about Shabbos, about taking the seventh day off. So in another conversation that I was having with another one of my kids this past week, came up the issue of being addicted to the internet, to screens, and to the whole world of social media pulling us into this realm of it's where we're not really living our lives. We're just being drawn through the world. So there's some of my kids are very, very concerned about this. And good Shabbos, Olivia. From Tzfat to you, you should feel the love of Tzfat and the light of Tzfat straight to you, into your heart, into your home, into your Shabbos, into your family and everyone. So one of my kids this week decided to do a cleanse, to take a week off from social media and to not be involved with it at all for a whole week and take a cleanse. And she was encouraging me to do a cleanse as well. And I on some level did a partial cleanse. I also feel like it's important to use these tools that are in the world and are ways of connecting with people for the good and for holiness and for learning and for teaching. So I didn't want to completely cut off, because there's so many good things that can happen through it. And in thinking about it and thinking about taking a break and getting a cleanse, I thought to myself, I really do it. I do it every week. I do a cleanse every week. I keep Shabbos. I take one day a week. On Friday afternoon, I unplug the internet. I turn off all the screens. I close it off for a whole 25 hours. Cleanse. Once a week. And maybe it's not the same as taking a whole week cleanse, but maybe it's even better. Maybe one time a week, one whole day a week, taking a break from being pulled into that world. What happens in that day? A lot of things happen in that day. That's such a high, important thing, Shabbos. Before I knew what Shabbos was in my life, I have to say, honestly, I was suffering. I felt this incredible lack. I felt this incredible anxiety inside of me, and I didn't know why and didn't know what it was. And then once I started to take a break once a week and stop trying to make money and move forward with my education and conquer the world and just be in the world, just take it in, look out the window and see how beautiful the world is, look at the trees, learn, sit with my family, eat beautiful food, appreciate the gifts that we're given. For hours, for 25 hours, just take that break. That cleanse makes the going into the world and opening the phone again and working again and trying to make something of myself in this world again during the week a completely different thing, because I have perspective, because I let it go. And letting it go once a week, this is built into the creation. God himself created the world, and at the end of the creation, it wasn't just, okay, that's the end, creation is over. The creation was finished, and then there's a whole nother day to just be in it. And this is a Shabbos, and we're right before Shabbos now, and Shabbos is the biggest gift in the world. I encourage anyone who keeps Shabbos to try to go deeper with your Shabbos. I encourage anyone who hasn't taken the step to try to keep Shabbos, to try it. Light a candle on Friday night. Let go of the world for a day. Realize, let God run the world. Realize it's not me. I don't run the world. And without reminding ourselves that we don't run the world, it's hard to remember that we don't run the world, that the world is not just about us. It's a very tricky situation. Again, it's that little tiny, tiny bit of light that we get of truth. It's not a lot to work with. It's a big challenge. And yet we can do it. And part of what gives us the strength to do it and to do it right is Shabbos, is to take the break. So I want to share one other little idea to finish up this little learning. And we say, this is from Shlomo Carlebach's teachings as well on Breishit. It says, we have in the beginning of Shabbat, we say, L'chu neranana, let's go and praise God. And he says, Shlomo says, we have to say this like Adam Rishon said it. Let's go praise God. So part of the beginning, the psalms that we say at the beginning of Shabbat, it says there that the trees are dancing and the rivers are clapping their hands. It's beautiful. It's poetic. And Shlomo says it's nice, but if someone were to say today, let's bring in Shabbos by saying these things, some people would say to them, save that for Havdalah. It's poetic, it's cute, it's nice, but like, what's the point? But Reb Shlomo says, Rabbi Nachman says, it's actually the deepest Torah in the world. Rabbi Nachman says that if a river sees me on Shabbos and the river doesn't start clapping its hands, it's because my Shabbos isn't strong enough. And the river says, your Shabbos is cute, but it doesn't reach me. If I walk in the street and the tree asks me if it's Wednesday or Thursday, then obviously I wasn't shining the light of Shabbos. I have to say it like Adam Rishon. Mamish, l'chun ranana l'Hashem. Let's praise Hashem. Look at this unbelievable world. Let's really take in Shabbos so deep. Let's be in Shabbos and live Shabbos so deep that we actually are living, that we're actually connecting to the essence of that infinite light, even though we're in this far away, dim, lowly world. And if and when we do that, and it should be this Shabbos already, we should already do it, but this kind of Shabbos, then, and it's the way that God wants it to be, if we really keep Shabbos in this way, where what does it mean to do a cleanse and cut off from social media and the world? It means to recognize there's something deeper, there's something higher and bigger running this world. It's not me, it's not Instagram, it's not Facebook, it's so much bigger. And knowing that and recognizing it and living it by keeping Shabbos, by taking that moment, it makes the trees dance. It makes the rivers clap their hands. It makes us all dance and clap our hands. It makes all of creation rise to that level of dancing, clapping its hands, singing. And maybe this is a little hint of what the Alter Rebbe was saying in the Tanya before, that this, keeping Shabbos and keeping the rules of Shabbos is one thing. This is my own words, not the Alter Rebbe's, my own thought. It's beautiful to keep Shabbos. It's amazing. It's such a high level to keep Shabbos. But keeping Shabbos on that level, that recognizing the L'chun ranana l'Hashem, look at how awesome this world is, Hashem. I'm just living here. I'm in this world. I'm just receiving your gifts by doing that, as opposed to working the land during the week. So live the Shabbos during the Shabbos, and the Or Chozer that comes back, it just must be so much stronger. It's the strongest light that there ever could be. So I want to wish us all and bless us all with a beautiful new year, a year of all newness, beginning anew the whole time, again and again and again, connecting to that spiritual power that's connected to infinity, that comes all the way down into this lowly world, and living a life on that level where we not only do something with it, we do something good with this world, and we protect it, and we make good of it, but we also let it go enough, and we go into Shabbos enough that the light that we're shining back to Kadosh Baruch Hu brings the Geula, brings the redemption, brings the total unity that we're all hoping for, brings the true peace that is slowly now, quickly, now it's descending upon the Middle East, this dream, this unbelievable impossibility that people have been dreaming of and thinking was impossible for so long. It's happening. Peace is coming to the Middle East. Peace is coming to the world. The light is coming around, and we can take our little steps during the week by recognizing where it's coming from, giving the blessings back, saying blessings over the food, working with what we're given to do good with it, and on Shabbos to say L'chun ranana l'Hashem. Let's give it back to the big boss, and recognize where all of this awesomeness and this life and the gifts that we're given, this immense, infinite level of gifts that we're constantly receiving, to recognize it and to say thank you and to say praise and to be together in that and to be unified in that, and together Mashiach Tzidkenu, to greet the world that we're all hoping for, the beautiful world that we're all dreaming of and starting to get a taste of. We should be there. We should be, and it's in the beginning forever and ever and ever. Good Shabbos, sending so much love and light from Tzfat to you, from us to you, from the light and the spirit of Tzfat to you. We're all together. If we can be together here online and tasting what it's like to be here in Tzfat and tasting what it's like to be wherever you are together right now, we can be together forever and ever, no matter where we are, and connected to the truth of the goodness of this world, and to bring it down for us and for all of us. Lots of love. Thanks for joining in. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Until next time.